Coming up next on Headline Humboldt, Kay Escarda and Sherilyn Hutton join us from the League of Women Voters to talk about this year's State of the Community event and democracy itself. Also, 5 years on, we take a long look back at the investigation into the stabbing death of David Josiah Lawson as the family continues its long struggle for justice. Coming up now on Headline Humboldt. Live from the top of Humboldt Hill, this is Headline Humboldt. I'm James Falk. Thanks for joining us. We have a packed show tonight featuring an interview with members of a community organization that has long had a sterling and nonpartisan reputation for supporting democracy and making us all better participants in this electoral system. Kay Escarda and Sherilyn Hutton for the League of Women Voters are here to talk about an upcoming virtual event honoring important members of our community. Also, this week represents the 5th year since the death of David Josiah Lawson, and a rally was held this evening to mark the occasion. We have a special report tonight from two key contributors who examine the role and responsibility of both the Arcata Police Department and the Humboldt County District Attorney's Office in that case. But first, the interview. Kay Escarda and Sherilyn Hutton. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Hi, James.
How are you doing?
Good to be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys represent the League of Women Voters,
Right.
And I think that that's a term a lot of people have heard a lot of times over the years, but can you sort of back up and for our viewers' sake explain what the League is and what it does? Let's start with you.
Well, the League is a nonprofit organization that came out of the Vote for Women drive that took 75 years.
Suffragette movement.
Yes, suffragette movement. And then they turned their energies into forming the public. And at first it was to teach women how to vote because they hadn't had that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And then it became just educating the public broadly.
Yeah. It seems like, I mean, they went from a purely Democratic motive of trying to expand the vote to a purely Democratic motive of trying to inform the voter. Would you say that's the case?
Yeah.
That you could say that is one of our primary missions is to have an informed citizenry.
Yeah. So what exactly does the League do now? We talked before the show and you said you have more than 200 members.
Right.
And so what are the primary functions of the League in Humboldt County?
Well, we have two arms, we usually say, to League, and one is voter service and informing them by registering and doing pros and cons, public forums for candidates, those kinds of things.
When you say pros and cons, it's like for referendums or initiatives
Yes,
and that
things
kind of thing?
that are on the ballot,
Okay.
both sides of the issues.
Yeah.
So we don't take a position on it, we just inform the public on both sides of the issue, and then people make up their own mind.
Yeah, which is an amazing approach these
Right.
days.
Yes, it is.
Not a lot of people
Yeah.
trust the public to make up their own minds.
Right. And the other arm of that is to study and become informed ourselves on an issue that government can have something to do with it. We don't do private business or anything like that. It has to be something government can affect.
Yeah.
And then when we study it, and sometimes they're always decided by the membership, and then the studies are usually a year long, sometimes 2 years long, so that we do an in-depth study.
Wow.
And then we arrive at a position by consensus. We don't vote on it, but we talk it out, get all the information on both sides until we can come to consensus on it. We write up a position, and then we can act on that position to influence the local government, Board of Supervisors, city councils, Board of Educations, that sort of thing.
Now the League has members from both political parties or both?
More than just
both.
two.
Yeah.
Right. We never ask. We don't discuss it at all.
Yeah. Now, Sherilyn, you said that you moved up here in 2005 and joined the League. Is that right?
I did. Not only did I join the League, so did my husband.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
There was a boat show down at by the Dorney Center, and Dave and I were there, and Carol Masterson, who many people in this community knew.
Yes.
She was registering voters, and we had just moved up here. And so we knew we had to re-register.
Yeah, yeah.
And here was the League of Women Voters booth.
Ready to help you do that.
And I said, I've always said when I retire, I'm going to join the League of Women Voters. And Carol says, well, here. And then she looks at Dave and says, and here's a membership form for you, Dave. And he joined.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
both joined right then.
And now this is a special, is it a year-long term as president? But you're president right now.
I'm co-president right now, and I have
Co-president
been
right now.
president in the past. So
How is that experience? What is that like to be president of the local?
Busy.
I bet.
very busy, extremely busy. But one of the things to remember is those of us who are on the board cannot talk about who we vote for.
Yeah.
We just can't do
campaign.
Yeah.
because we're trying to maintain our nonpartisan
Absolutely.
positions.
Well, I think that's important to, I mean, an important reason why people trust the league so much is because it's not a typical partisan or advocacy organization that's constantly pushing its opinion. You
That's
guys are
right.
trying to inform the voters, right?
Yes,
Right.
and we want people to be active in government, not just on the sidelines.
Yeah.
It's very discouraging for me when I'm working a registration booth and somebody goes by and says, I don't vote because I don't believe in this system.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, how do you want to change the system if you're not willing to be informed and
Yeah.
vote?
Yeah, absolutely. How discouraging is it for you guys to watch like current national politics when you see people on both sides frothing at the mouth and having these really bitter, mean debates where it's like the issues don't even matter so much anymore as what the letter is by your name? I mean, do you find yourself responding to that?
That's what the league is all about, is trying to be civil and be informed and improve the system. But we don't really take partisan positions on those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But we wish that people would be civil in their discussions and be truthful, come from
Right.
facts.
Yeah.
We believe in facts.
We believe in
We
facts
think they're
and
important.
truth. There is some truth in the world,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
But you ask,
Something
how
like
did
that.
we feel?
Yeah.
For a while there, I was only watching the PBS NewsHour. I could not stand
What
to
did
watch.
I tell you?
Plug.
Yeah, no.
I
it's,
couldn't stand to
true,
watch
though.
what was being done.
Yeah.
In fact, reading the papers, difficult at times when you read what people believe that is not factual.
Yeah, exactly. And they end up believing stereotypes and generalities and sort of the least, I don't know, the least flattering picture that they can possibly come up with about their opponent.
I think it's
And
hard
so-
to get facts, and it's hard to know who to trust for your information.
Absolutely.
We hope that they'll look at the league for that.
Well, yeah, and I think that you guys give voters a better ability to be critical about things like that. Like they can
We
examine
hope.
an issue and think about it and from more than one direction, because you don't just advocate for one side or the other on some of these issues. You give both positions, and I think that that's important.
We really work hard at that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have pros and cons, and we do that community forums for that.
Yeah. Speaking of community forums, we have that coming up, right? The election is around the corner.
That's exactly right.
And in partnership with Key TV on May 11th, I think we have the first one, which I think is the auditor-controller race. And so can you guys describe for me how the league does that? How do you figure out what questions to ask and that sort of thing?
Well, that's hard. We've lost Carol Masterson, who was our guru for working with Keat on these forums, and we had developed this process where we have phone-in, people can phone in their questions, and we have people that take those questions on the phone, and then runners come down and we try to sort them into categories so that we cover
Yeah.
a lot of different areas of questioning.
Yeah.
And then that's given to the moderator, and then we try to have the candidates have an equal shot.
Yeah, and it's like amazingly responsive. I mean, it's like you have people running up and down the stairs, and there's like a lot of work goes into making sure that the viewers
Plus,
can get
and
their
now
questions
people
asked.
can
Right.
email their questions
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
So it's
right.
not just they have to pick up the phone,
Right.
but it's very hard as the moderator to stand there and you have these questions coming at you, and you want to make sure you haven't asked the same question,
Yeah.
just a slightly different wording.
Well, yeah,
So
and it's like
a-
it can start out different, but it may turn into the same question, so
Yeah.
you got to be really on top of things to know
And one of
which-
the things we do is
And
we
you-
do give,
yeah.
we have a time limit for each person, and each person has to answer
Yeah.
that question.
and have the same amount of time to answer it,
That's
right?
exactly
And you have
right.
people that sort the questions so that you get a variety of questions. They should know something about the background. Like if you're doing the 5th District, you should know what the issues are in that 5th District.
Yeah, sure.
So that we come at it from so you don't ask questions that aren't appropriate to making a decision.
Now, years ago, you had journalists involved. Is that right? Like, didn't you guys used to have journalists that would moderate the?
I think we did when we were first getting started with this.
Okay.
Yeah, we would have
I think
them
that we
submit
had
some
journalists
questions.
for a while who
Yeah.
could ask could give
Yeah.
us questions if
Yeah.
they wanted.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Ask, you know, like
Yeah.
any other citizen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about COVID. It's been a challenge for everybody. We seem to be kind of coming out of it now, and it's prevented what's probably your most lucrative fundraising event and
Yeah.
a service that you guys do for the community. Let's talk about that.
Thank you.
The State of the Community Luncheon, right?
Which is a week from today.
Yes, and this is your biggest fundraiser of the year, is
Well,
that right?
it had been, but according to the last few years, we haven't been able to have a luncheon.
Yeah, it's
And
terrible.
so we have an alternate event this time that is not open to the public. It's at the Morris Graves Museum, and only the honorees will be there. And we will still have a state of the county address. We always ask the chair of the Board of Supervisors to do that at our luncheon.
So Virginia Bass?
So Virginia is going to give her state of the county, and then we will be honoring two groups, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But
Yeah.
I did want to mention that Virginia's not running again this year,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this will be her final
final
opportunity
address. Yeah,
to give the state of the county. So we're looking forward to having her do that.
Yeah, and it'd be a chance for her to maybe, say farewell in some
Well, we'll
ways.
see what she wants to say. That's always up to the
And
speaker.
she's got, who knows what the future may hold, too.
Yeah,
Not to
that's
say she's
true.
writing herself out of politics. Who knows? So let's talk about the people who were honored. You
Right.
basically pick people who have are dynamic leaders in the community. Is that right? How would you describe the people you pick?
We say that they are people who have provided a great deal of service to the community.
Okay.
And people are invited to nominate people that they feel do that.
Yeah. You said it's open to the community to make these
and
nominations.
as I told you earlier, we even put an ad in the paper, please send your nominations in, and you have to write up your reasons for this person, and then the committee looks at all of these nominees, and we can't honor everybody.
Of course not. Yeah, yeah.
So we pick two by consensus again, after a lot of discussion,
Yeah.
and try to make sure that we save the names of all the nominees, so maybe next year that will be someone we can look at
So you
again.
can bring them back in the next
If-
year.
Have
And
a pool
so
to draw from.
now you gave 2 awards, but there's actually 3 people.
Yes.
Because one of them's a unit, right?
Yes, it is.
So the Hollenbecks.
Yes, Viviana and Eric Hollenbeck. And we actually picked these people 3 years ago, but because we weren't able to have our luncheon, they've been hanging in the balance all this time. And so we finally decided, my gosh, we got to do something to actually let them know that
Yeah.
that they are honored, and the community know that we have honored them.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing it this year. And they run the Blue Ox
Millworks.
Millworks.
Yeah, which is a beautiful place
Yeah.
that does great work.
And so since we notified them that they were our honorees, now they have a show of their own.
The Discovery Plus show.
Yes,
and
and they're been very high in the public.
yeah, they have a play too. You
The
mentioned?
play, The
Yeah.
Radio Man,
Yeah.
by Del Arte.
But we still, we value them, and we like to give them our recognition as well. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And then the other one was Wendy Walland.
Wanda.
Wanda, I'm sorry.
Walland.
Walland.
I'm sorry, Wanda. I didn't mean that.
Yes.
My wife's grandmother is named Wanda, so I should have known that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Wanda. What does she do?
Well, she's been very active in the freshwater range and the things that they do out there, and the Quota Club, and they have supported a women's shelter organization.
Yeah.
And she's been active, we understand, in the the Seas Candy program through Cancer Society and the Discovery Shop.
Yeah.
So she's been very active for a number of years in a lot of different ways, and she had several nominations from the community. And we do like to select people that aren't so well known, because there's a lot of people that work in the background that never get recognition.
Absolutely, and I think anything that you can do to help people know that, I think the better off they are, and they'll continue that work.
Well, it's nice to get a look from somebody
An
that's
atta-girl
not.
or atta-boy
yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
right. And often people are surprised that they've been nominated and that they are selected.
Yeah.
They didn't see it coming.
So, as always happens, we're running out of time. We have a minute left already.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, 1 minute. But since you mentioned that it's become a challenge to fundraise for the league because of the issues surrounding COVID and whatnot, www.lwvhc.org.
Yes,
that's the
that's
league
right.
website, right?
That
so
is.
if people want to become members or consider donating,
Oh, that would be
they
great.
can
would be
visit
lovely.
there.
Yes.
And then also P.O. Box 3219, Eureka, California 95502. For, I assume tax deductible, because you guys are a...
No.
No, okay. I take
No.
that back.
Well, one is if you donate to the education fund, that is deductible.
Okay.
But just to the league, because we do advocate for things, which throws us into that category,
Yeah.
that's not deductible. So
Okay.
the general member.
We are done for today, guys.
Oh, what I
I'm
didn't
sorry.
get to mention the mental health study.
Well, next time. We'll have you back.
Okay.
I appreciate it, guys.
1
Thank you so
minute,
much.
Kay,
can
one
see
We'll be
minute.
back after this short break.
McAllen, Texas is the home to the last abortion clinic on the Texas-Mexico border.
Get out of the way. Ray, call the police. Out of the way.
Patients, protesters, and staff highlight the tensions and humanity at the center of this contentious issue. On the Divide, on POV.
Did Big Oil knowingly spread disinformation?
An epic three-part series.
They said that climate science was uncertain, that action wasn't required.
Our job was to fight back against the progressive agenda.
We concluded that none of these technologies were going to be competitive against oil.
Big money had infiltrated the halls of Congress.
There's an urgency to the situation that is not being answered.
To mark the 5th year since the stabbing death of David Josiah Lawson, a student at what was then Humboldt State University, supporters gathered tonight in front of the Humboldt County Courthouse to continue their demands for an arrest and prosecution in the case. Key contributor Eric Black delivered the following report on Lawson's homicide and the investigative missteps made by the Arcata Police Department as the case unfolded. In fact, according to the National Police Foundation, the Arcata Police Department's, quote, organizational failures, tactical missteps, and investigative and leadership errors damaged the investigation into the April 2017 killing. In 2018, the city hired the foundation's independent former cops to evaluate Arcata Police's response to the killing. As Eric Black reports, the National Police Foundation concluded that Arcata Police Department's errors began when Shift Supervisor Crystal Arminio first responded to the stabbing at the Spear Avenue house party.
Shift supervisors had not been provided specialized supervisory training in the management of critical incidents and scene management of major crimes. As a result, many of the basic tenets of crime scene security and management were not followed. Friends were allowed to talk to the suspect when he was detained in a cop car. Officers instructed potential witnesses to leave. A witness retrieved some of the suspect's belongings from the area of the crime scene. An acquaintance drove away in the suspect's vehicle. Officers collected evidence without using specialized equipment that lay dormant following the 2016 reassignment of the evidence technician. Police cordoned off a portion of the driveway where the shift supervisor saw blood, but the stabbing occurred on the adjacent lawn. That misidentification of the crime scene caused misdirection in follow-up by detectives. Arminio correctly prioritized saving Lawson's life, but because she did not ask the responding university police sergeant to help control the scene and coordinate witnesses, command and control of the scene, evidence, witnesses, and investigation was insufficient. For example, In deciding to press charges, the district attorney relied on a police report indicating a witness said the suspect stabbed Lawson. But a judge concluded the detective erred when summarizing that witness's statement. Audio recordings indicate another witness said a black man attacked the suspect. The witness said the suspect grabbed the attacker's knife and stabbed the attacker. But in a report, the officer wrote the witness said the suspect never had a knife and never stabbed anyone. That witness, identified by the North Coast Journal as Angelica McFarland, told 4 different stories in 4 interviews. When Detective Sergeant Todd Dockweiler took over the case, he did not attempt to resolve McFarland's conflicting accounts. Dockweiler did not visit the crime scene nor review crime scene photos before conducting what the National Police Foundation called a curt, instead of exploratory, 15-minute interview with the suspect. Early response errors could have been corrected with proper oversight. Instead, when notified less than an hour after the stabbing, Operations Lieutenant Bart Silvers did not return from his planned vacation 3 hours away. Silvers was APD's second in command. He had 8 years' experience investigating homicides and major crime. NPF concluded, once Silvers learned of difficulties at the crime scene in following established protocols, as soon as the morning after, he should have provided additional supervision to ensure a proper investigation. His knowledge, experience, and assistance would have been a valuable asset. Instead, in the year following the killing, Silvers did not review the case file and did not review police reports from the night of the killing. Sensing police apathy and incompetence, activists occupied City Hall and shut down city council meetings in August 2018. In response to public outrage, then Police Chief Tom Chapman said the case was being worked on every day. But the National Police Foundation concluded the chief was not properly engaged in the supervision of the investigation. Within hours of the killing, Chapman declined an offer of help from the district attorney's chief investigator. Chapman did not want to cede control. The National Police Foundation concluded other agencies could have provided valuable resources to assist with the identification of witnesses, evidence collection, and crime scene documentation in the early stages of the investigation. Instead, Arcata Police forged ahead solo, even though Chapman had little investigative experience. The chief did not ensure that Lieutenant Silvers was overseeing the investigation. Chapman did not review the case before submitting it to the district attorney. A judge concluded the DA had insufficient evidence to force a trial. The suspect was released. The city hired a retired FBI agent unaffiliated with NPF to help gather more evidence.
The chief was not really on top of the case. I would ask, what's the status of the case? The standard answer was, I don't know, let me check and I'll get back to you. And quite frankly, I found it absolutely astonishing that the chief would not know right up to the minute what was going on with the case.
Key contributor Ryan Hudson, who has maintained an ongoing dialogue with Charmaine Lawson, Josiah's mother, filed this report about the state of that investigation now and where things might be headed in the future.
On the 5-year memorial anniversary of Josiah Lawson's tragic death, the Lawson family and the greater community still want to see the perpetrator at large brought to light and convicted for the homicide. While the city of Arcata and the Arcata Police Department's handling of the investigation has been scrutinized at length, and for good reason, so too have the district attorney's actions or inactions in the case. As the mother of the victim prepared for the 5-year anniversary memorial rally in Humboldt County, I wanted to know what has been the most difficult thing for her and the family.
After the murder of my son, DJ, it left me numb. I'm still numb. But what was one of the most hardest thing to do was to send my son Anthony off to college 2 months later, knowing that DJ did everything he was supposed to, did everything right. I sent him off to college and he was murdered.
As we discussed the status of the case and the investigation, Lawson lamented the slow wheels of justice, but reiterated that she was focused on the long game, achieving a conviction for the 2017 murder of her son, David Josiah Lawson.
They have the evidence to prosecute and to hold my son's murderer accountable. Why is it taking 5 years? So many failures, starting from Arcata Police Department and the district attorney, Maggie Fleming and Joe Buckingham. So many things went wrong.
I guarantee you, if those were 2 black HSU students, they would be in jail right now. They would be in jail. And Kyle Zoner, you can sue me all you want. You can sue me, you can sue me, you can sue me. You will never get a dime, I promise you that. But the DNA on the knife is of Kyle Zoner and David Josiah Lawson. And Kyle Zoner is still walking the street of Humboldt County. And it's all because of District Attorney Maggie Fleming.
Whoever is elected to be the new DA, we're going to hold them to the highest standard. We're going to hold them accountable. We are going to hold them accountable, just like we did Maggie Fleming. I want to know they will be the voice for victims and their families.
Why is it different because my child is black? Why is it different? This is not okay.
I am asking Attorney General Rob Bonta to take my son's case out of Humboldt County. I don't believe my son will get a fair trial in Humboldt County because of District Attorney Maggie Fleming and her failures to prosecute and bring his murderer to justice. I am also asking that he attach the hate crime to my son's murder, as my son is laying, dying on the ground with multiple stab wounds to his chest. In his chest, they slice a piece of my son's heart. Layla Ortega is saying, I hope that nigga dies. So I'm asking for the hate crime. We will discuss that. The hate crime be attached to the murder.
Responding to my request for feedback on the subject, current District Attorney Maggie Fleming provided a written statement explaining, in regard to an incoming District Attorney, Fleming said, under evidence-based as opposed to political decision-making by district attorneys, cases are not passed from one DA to the next. Adding, the district attorney's office immediately charged someone in the Lawson case when police reports indicated prosecution was possible, but testimony at preliminary hearing contradicted critical content in the police reports. The $100,000 reward is still on the table, and Arcata Police Department officers are still looking for witnesses. For Headline Humboldt, I'm Ryan Hudson.
Maggie Fleming also said that all the evidence was presented to a grand jury, which chose not to indict anyone. That's it for this evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm James Falk. Stay tuned, stay informed.